What's up, everybody? Desi here. Hey, I wanted to talk to you tonight about learning to trust yourself. This is something that I think we all need to learn. I see a lot of people always go around and, asking people, what should I do? How should I do this? And, that's fine to a certain extent, to talk to your friends and whatnot and blah, blah, blah. But sometimes you don't just want to be putting all your info out there. A lot of people could be haters when you give them too much information and be like, nah, don't do that, don't do this or whatever. A lot of times moving in silence is almost better. But hopefully you know who your friends are and who you could talk to about some of these situations. But the big thing is learning to trust your own intuition, so that you're not living someone else's life. Eventually you got to step up and make decisions for yourself, and you got to find your own moral compass, figure out what your integrity is, who you are, and that way you're living your own life. You're not living someone else's. You're not, flying by someone else's thoughts. You're living in your own uh, essence of life. And that's great. It's great to take the reins of your own life, and just and go with it. And if you're gonna make mistakes, make your own mistakes. Don't make someone else's. Do what's right in your heart. You know what I mean? I think your heart's going to always lead you to the right direction. If you follow your mind, you're a lot of times you're just going to be stagnant and you're going to be sitting around playing the what if game. Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? Who cares? Jump into it, live, and shit's going to happen no matter what. you know, Nothing's perfect. It's like living the imperfect life. So just go for it. And, sometimes mistakes are going to be made, but you know what? That's part of life and that's part of living. And if you're making your own mistakes, you're going to feel a lot better than if you're making someone else's mistakes. And then you're pointing the finger later on, being like, why'd you tell me to do that? At least you could take credit for, for your own mistakes and then your own successes too, because a lot of times if you're following your heart and you're doing what's right within your self, I think it's going to lead you to some great things. And you can't be afraid to fail. Failing is like I said, it's a part of life. We're all going to fall down and get back up, and just learn from it. It's part of it. So don't beat yourself up. Just get back up and try again. That's what it's all about. And then this time you're going to do it with a little bit better of knowledge of what's going on. I think a lot of people fail, I mean, we all fail, but people failed so much that they just give up on life and they're just like getting a comfortable bubble of like, okay, I'm just gonna do this because it's comfortable. And then you're afraid to take chances and afraid to take risk, and life is about taking risk. And sometimes the best risk are it brings you to something completely different in life that's going to open up a whole new world for you. So don't be afraid to leap off the deep end every now and again, and mix things up. Have some fun with it. That's what it's about. That's why we're here. Jump on the merry-go-round and the carousel of life, and have some fun. And be wary about all these people that make excuses. A lot of times if you're hanging around people that just make excuses all day, it's probably not the people you want to be hanging out with. They're probably sitting around gossiping, making excuses of why things don't work for them, playing the victim. And if you get into this mindset and this mentality, then that's what you're going to be. You're going to be a victim, and then you're just going to make excuses all your life because that's what you're doing. But if you get into the mindset of finding people that uplift you and want you to, you could talk about the world and, and different ways of looking at consciousness and space and aliens, just weird shit, that really expands consciousness, and where you just find friends where you could just talk to all night and it's like 2 or 3 in the morning and you're like, damn, those are the type of people that I want in my life. That's the tribe that I want to meet, because I'm not here to talk about people and little things. I want to talk about things that's going to uplift us as a society, as a person, and just bring excitement into my life. And like a lot of times, if it's not bettering myself, then why are we talking about it? Like I do love talking about mysteries and different things, but never about people and things like that. So just that's all I guess I wanted to say is take risk and you know, find your own moral compass and find what your own integrity is and make your own decisions, you know? Just don't be afraid. Lace them boots up and go get it yourself. And you start doing this and you're going to start having fun, you know, because that's what life's about. It's about taking risk and having fun and getting off that couch and doing something different. So anyways, hope you all have a wonderful night. And like always, let's make this world a better place together.